the AEW television deal, man. After much indifference from One Nation Radio, because we all knew that this was essentially in the bag with the rating success, the number one on Wednesday nights, the hours upon hours given from WBD into AEW with additional programming like Rampage or Battle of the Belts, Collision, and Dynamite being as strong as it's been. This was no real shock. The only question was the number. I figured, there was a substantial raise due to, the success that happened with it. So, basically the financial terms were not disclosed, but according to sources, the deal is valued at $185 million a year when all elements are taken into account. Under that new deal, Dynamite and Collision will remain on TBS and TNT respectively. But for the first time since its launch in 2019, AEW programming will stream live on Max simultaneously for U.S. subscribers and will be available to stream on demand starting in January 2025. We are honored to announce the extension of our incredible partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery, said Tony Khan. This extension continues the tradition of iconic wrestling events broadcasts on TBS and TNT while establishing a new legacy for AEW through weekly live streams on Max for years to come. He goes on to thank Zaslav and Kathleen Finch and various other executives for their support of AEW. And basically this includes enhanced distribution rights across social media, as well as potential new programming on linear and digital platforms. Also, the pay-per-views will be available on Max later in 2025 at a discounted price per event, blah, blah, blah. And, in the Variety press release, they put over AEW a little bit, and they talk, touted the success as Wednesday's number one cable entertainment series among adults from 18 to 49. So thinking about it, man, I can't wait to watch some of the old stuff that goes up there. I have Max, so this is good news for me. But I just got a couple questions. For the non-believers, the various suckers, lames, grifters, people that believed the foolishness that was coming out of these people's mouths, that were believing the lies, the deception, and they built entire internet personalities around this. They built entire Twitter profiles around this. They paid Elon Musk to do this, something I recommend nobody, and I mean nobody ever do, is give your money to Elon Musk. That's what they were doing, to come out here and believe in the lie, the great big lie. Like I can, Brewhaven in the comments saying, imagine paying Elon Musk. Who would do such a thing? So, there are those people that, they need their verified checks for various reasons, but these people basically use that, got conned by giving their financial information to Elon Musk, and then used it to come out here and basically, it's hard to even explain exactly what they were doing, because they were clearly they're either not smart enough to understand they were being lied to, or they actually do know they're being lied to. And they are so consumed with hatred for this thing they wish didn't exist. They said, fuck it. We're believing the lie anyway. We will fight on that lie like it's The Wire. I really don't know what's worse. I went on a bookmark spree, the likes of none other. I think this was the big one that I was waiting for. James and I have discussed on this show. The big raise is coming. And at this point, there's nothing left to do. As far the case is closed, the history books should be getting updated right now. AEW is the most successful company in this country, not named WWE. WCW, get in the bin. TNA, don't make me laugh. ECW, They still owe people money. Ring of Honor, y'all already know how I feel about that. Come on, man. But there's only one other shoe left to drop, and it's not a good one for people that have not been happy to see this news. Is if Fox, Big Fox that is, decides to get in the AEW game after spending so much money on SmackDown and not really getting the return on their investment they were looking for, given that platform and still wanting to be in the wrestling game, to AEW for something like the long-rumored Shockwave. That would be really like an incredible change of circumstances. WWE was able to get NXT on its CW for a reduced like kind of rate, especially compared to AEW. And I've seen a lot of people, say, well, they're paying, this low value for NXT, and then AEW was able to get these numbers with, their numbers not, as high as they once have been. But I kind of look at it like this, like NXT is like the third thing. Like that's about as big as they can make it. AEW is an entire promotion, so they can add more shows. They can add, they can split their package a couple different ways. They're not going to come up with like another NXT show to sell to somebody. They'll play Level Up on Peacock and stuff like that, but NXT is never going to rise above what it is. It's never going to overtake Raw or SmackDown in their eyes. So that's not really like something like, if I'm a network, I'm like, all right, I think I'd rather invest even more in an entire company with the potential that has already shown like 5 years of excellent ratings and stuff like that. And NXT has been a lot more volatile. Like they've caught a wave of late, but you gotta time these things up the correct way. As far as like the TV deal, like these people were just broken in half, man. Like it was sad to see that they just were crashing out this badly on the timeline, and they were listening to the likes of Eric Bischoff. They were listening to they were letting some of the Brandon Thurston stuff scare them, and I think Brandon does a great job, but I think sometimes his work gets used for evil. You look at you look at seeing like the people that perpetuated a lot of this stuff, like they have to use deception, they have to use out of touch data, they have to use really just hatred in their soul for anything not named WWE to really analyze this stuff. So I think this should have been a lesson to a lot of people, and it won't be. People won't learn because they're not smart. That you can see kind of like the writing was on the wall. All the extra, television time that was being doled out, all the overruns, all the non-commercial breaks, all this stuff. This is like where you can tell a company is happy with the performance, the pay-per-view business. And, you can look at weak parts of AEW's business right now with the attendance. That's something they've struggled with. Even the ratings are not as strong right now as they've been. And are those cause for concerns in traditional forms? Yes, you would look at the attendance, which still needs to be addressed, and think, the television is to follow, and think the pay-per-view is to follow. But AEW's been so strong in those two areas. They've held and adapted to the new landscape of pro wrestling, which is built upon television rights, pretty much better than anyone not named WWE. So it's a big win for Tony Khan, a big win for the Elite, a big win for all the wrestlers that have worked really hard to ensure that this thing's going to at least go on another 3 to 4 years. And by that time, you're looking at an even bigger number possibly at the end of that. That's why these people were re-signing for X amount of years. Like Swerve was signing the big deals. Mercedes signed a big deal. Okada signed these multi-year deals. Will Ospreay signed these multi-year deals. Like, this was the dead giveaway. Like, if you think all these people were signing, like, these deals with nowhere to wrestle at. Like, I don't know, like, what you were paying attention to. Please do not be consumed with the hate. I would almost welcome some of these people to listen to a show like One Nation Radio, to like listen to something like the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, Voice of Wrestling Podcast, Trish and Sarah, like, and be like, all right, man, this is like, I would welcome you to like deal with factual information for once, rather than reading things like WWE press releases touting the amount of minutes that were watched. Like, these are stats we can do nothing with. But this is a massive success, and anyone saying otherwise is not to be listened to. They are to be ignored, and they are to, quite frankly, be mocked. Bring them back to the light. Pull out all your funniest gifs. Pull out all your jokes. Like, embarrass these folks and let them know intellectually they are not on your level. like they're not on your level. They're definitely not on One Nation Radio's level, because, you know, we've been telling y'all for ages like what was up, what was gonna happen, and it's just like, it's so sad to see people go out like this. It's like, like, I don't want to believe everyone's dumb. Like these are probably smart people in their day-to-day lives, but just so consumed with seeing people do things another way, seeing you know, a man of color start this, you know, company and just crash out over that. A guy that has been called a nice guy inside of pro wrestling just win like this. Like, it doesn't compute for a lot of people. Like, you know, all these people that are you know, signed to these Legends deals that come out with all this, you know, their radio shows and stuff like that pretty much are like PR arms of WWE that throw these arrows and get a lot of people to believe them. And, you know, if you never thought about that, like, that's definitely a part of the war, the strategy. It's like, all right, you weaponize, you know, these relationships that you have with people like a Booker T, people like, you know, Busted Open Radio, all those guys who have large listenerships because people like believe in their favorite wrestlers. But at the end of the day, those folks are on a mission. Like, they are trying to protect the brand that has them under the Legends contracts and stuff like that. So of course they're not gonna give you, you know, the real. They're not gonna cut to the root. They'll come out here and say, yeah, man, we're happy for the business and stuff like this. It's a great day in pro wrestling. No, motherfuckers. It's a great day for AEW. That's who did it. Pro wrestling didn't do this. WWE didn't achieve to allow AEW to achieve. No, this was their accomplishment, and I think it should be called out as such. So, you know, congrats to AEW. Keep rolling. Keep making people mad and making them go crazy, and keep changing the world. Don't stop. So moving on,